Have you ever walked into a room and felt like your presence didn't matter? Have you given your time, love, and energy only to feel invisible? And have you wondered why those closest to you no longer truly see you? That quiet ache of showing up, giving your all, yet feeling unseen, is a pain many carry, especially later in life. In this video, we'll explore why you deserve to be respected, valued, and cherished, and how to reclaim your peace when those you love stop noticing you. Stay until the end, because you'll discover a powerful truth. Choosing yourself isn't about letting go. It's about finding the life and love you've been waiting for. And it starts with you. Before we begin, I'd appreciate it if you liked this video to help spread these important lessons. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you do so and turn on the bell so you won't miss any videos. Allow me to share a poignant story, one I've heard echoed in countless conversations. A woman in her late 70s told me about her weekly ritual of visiting her daughter's home every Sunday, a tradition woven into her life for decades. She arrives with a homemade dessert, her hands busy with love, helping clear dishes after dinner, and cherishing moments with her grandchildren. But in recent months, something has changed. The warmth she once felt has faded. Her daughter, overwhelmed with her own life, barely pauses to talk. Her son-in-law, distracted, rarely looks up from his phone. The grandchildren, lost in their games and screens, rush past her with fleeting smiles. She sits quietly in the corner, her polite smile hiding a growing ache, feeling like a shadow in a house that once felt like part of her own heart. Returning home, the silence mirrors her pain, and she weeps. Not because anyone was openly cruel, but because their indifference cuts deeper. She wonders, is it me? Am I asking too much just to be noticed, valued, and... No, dear soul, you are not asking for too much. You're longing for the most basic human needs, to be seen, to be heard, to be respected. These are not extravagant demands. They are the foundation of love. When they're missing, what remains isn't love at all, but an empty routine sustained only by obligation or guilt. Continuing to show up in such a space week after week takes a toll on your spirit. It whispers cruel lies, that your feelings don't matter, that being pushed aside is simply part of growing older, that this diminished role is all you can expect from life now. But here's a different truth, one filled with clarity and hope. You have every right to protect your peace, even from those closest to you, your children, siblings, or lifelong friends. Respect is not guaranteed by family ties or shared history. It is earned through consistent, intentional care. Too often, we confuse patience with silence, swallowing our hurt to avoid being seen as a burden. We downplay our sadness, telling ourselves it's not worth the discomfort of speaking up. But how long can you carry that quiet ache before it hardens into bitterness? How many times will you excuse their emotional distance before you begin to doubt your own worth? This isn't about cutting ties or building walls. It's about choosing yourself, refusing to shrink your presence to fit into someone else's limited affection. You were not made to be merely tolerated. You were made to be cherished, to be loved with intention and care. So, what does respect truly look like in action? It isn't found in extravagant gifts or poetic declarations, but in the small, deliberate acts of connection. A moment of eye contact that says, "I see you," or a phone call and a message that says, "I'm thinking of you." A visit should feel like a joyful choice, not a begrudging duty. It's the sound of a voice softening with warmth when it hears yours. If these acts of care have faded, not just once, but consistently over time, it's not only acceptable, it's necessary to step back. This isn't about punishing anyone. It's about protecting your own heart and giving yourself room to heal. Stepping back doesn't mean you love them less. It means you love yourself enough to stop chasing crumbs of attention and settling for relationships that leave you drained. You are allowed to choose peace over pain. You are allowed to say, I cherish the memories of who we once were, but I can't keep hurting myself to maintain a connection that no longer nourishes me. Some may argue, what if they come around? What if they're just busy? What if I give it more time? These are fair questions, and people can change. Life's demands can cloud priorities. But here's a question for you. What is the cost of waiting forever? How many months, years, or even decades will you give away hoping they'll finally see your worth? And in that waiting, how much joy and vitality will you lose? Your 60s, 70s, and 80s are not chapters you can rewrite. This is your one precious life, your one chance to fill your days with meaning, connection, and purpose. If someone repeatedly shows you that you're not a priority, it's time to stop making them yours. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are the author of your own life, with the power to decide where your time, energy, and heart should go. Sometimes, the bravest and kindest act is to lovingly step back and declare, I will no longer pour myself into spaces where I am not truly seen. Think of it this way. If you plant a flower in barren soil with no nutrients, no matter how much you water it, it will struggle to grow. The failure to bloom is not the flower's fault. It's a sign the environment can't sustain it. Instead of blaming yourself for not thriving, maybe it's time to replant in a place rich with warmth, light, and care. This new chapter may mean fewer visits to those who overlook you, fewer unanswered calls, and more moments devoted to what truly brings you joy. It could be reading a book that stirs your imagination, taking walks that reconnect you with nature, learning a new skill that sparks curiosity, or surrounding yourself with people who lift your spirit instead of draining it. At first, this change may feel unfamiliar, even lonely. But over time, the space you create by letting go of what hurts becomes fertile ground for something better. Relationships that honor you, experiences that give you purpose, and a renewed sense of self-worth. You are not here to beg for attention or earn love through silent suffering. You are here to be respected, cherished, and free. The moment you stop giving your energy to those who take it for granted, you begin to reclaim your power. You may wonder, if I step back, will they notice? Will they care? Or will I feel even more alone? These questions are heavy, and the answers may not be what you hope for. Sometimes they won't notice. Sometimes life will go on as if your absence doesn't matter. That truth can cut deeper than any spoken rejection. Yet, within that pain lies a gift: clarity. When your absence feels lighter to them than your presence, you haven't lost a relationship. You've lost an illusion. As heartbreaking as it may be, that realization frees you from the exhausting cycle of chasing what was never real. You don't have to stay in spaces where you're merely tolerated. You don't have to keep chasing people who've stopped meeting you halfway. Love that flows in only one direction will eventually run dry, and the longer you pour from your cup without being refilled, the emptier you will become. This isn't about becoming hardened or resentful. It's about becoming wise, knowing when to hold on and when to let go. Walking away doesn't mean failure. It means growth. Think of a child with a once-beloved toy. At first, they carry it everywhere, unable to let it go. But over time, the toy is set aside. Not because it's broken, but because they've grown so used to its presence that they take it for granted. Relationships can follow the same pattern. Some people expect you to always be there, to always say yes, to always forgive. Over time, your steadfast presence becomes invisible. But what happens when that toy is no longer where it used to be? When they reach for it and find it gone? That's when they pause, reflect, and realize its value. This isn't about manipulation. It's about allowing others to feel the weight of your absence. Those who truly value you will notice when you're gone. They'll feel the quiet where your laughter once echoed, the emptiness where your warmth used to be. And if they don't notice? That silence speaks louder than words ever could. There is dignity in no longer knocking on closed doors or accepting the bare minimum from those who could give more but choose not to. In that space, you begin to rediscover who you are beyond the roles you've played, beyond the giver, the supporter, the one who always understands. You start asking new questions. What do I want for myself in this chapter of my life? What people or pursuits make me feel truly alive? Who do I want beside me, not out of duty, but because they bring me joy? It's never too late to create a life that reflects your worth, a life where your presence is celebrated, not assumed. It's never too late to invest in relationships and experiences that leave you feeling whole, surrounded by people who don't need proof of your value because they already see it. And showing up with love now means extending that same love to yourself. By stepping away from what diminishes you, you make room for what uplifts you. You remind yourself, and the world, that you are not here to fade into the background, but to shine, to live fully, and to be valued for exactly who you are. That journey begins the moment you choose to honor your own heart. There's a quote that often echoes in my mind during moments of exhaustion. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Yet how many of us have done exactly that? We've stood in the flames of self-sacrifice, watching our energy, patience, and very sense of self burn away, all to sustain relationships that give little in return. We've poured our time, health, and heart into people and places that rarely give back, convincing ourselves this is what love demands. But true love doesn't drain you. It doesn't leave you smaller, emptier, or feeling like a shadow of who you could be. Real love is like a garden. It nourishes, it grows, and it blooms in both directions. It lifts you, fills your spirit, and meets you halfway. So, if you're always the one to call first, to mend what's broken, to bend until you nearly break, pause. Ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped? If you stopped texting first, stopped driving across town to see someone who makes you feel unwelcome, stopped reshaping your life to fit their schedule, would they notice your absence? Would they reach out? Or would they simply continue, untouched by the void you once filled? The answer, whatever it is a gift. It's a mirror reflecting the truth of that relationship, even if it stings. Because when you stop chasing what ignores you, you open space, precious, sacred space, for what truly sees you, values you, and honors your presence. At this stage of life, some of the most meaningful bonds may bloom in the most unexpected places, from a neighbor's warm wave and kind question to a stranger's gentle conversation in passing. It could be a pottery class, a book club where laughter comes easily, or a community like a gardening group or church choir that embraces you for who you are today, not just who you were decades ago. These connections can surprise you with their warmth, ease, and authenticity. But to welcome them, you must make space in your heart and mind. You need emotional bandwidth, mental clarity, and the courage to step back from ties that no longer heal or sustain you, even if they once meant everything. Stepping back doesn't always mean cutting people off. For some relationships, a little distance can restore balance, like loosening a knot that's been pulled too tight. Space gives both sides a chance to reflect, to see the value of your presence. Sometimes that pause can reignite a healthier, more mutual bond. But even if nothing changes for them, something shifts deeply within you. You stop waiting for validation to feel worthy. You stop tying your value to someone's attention. You begin to choose yourself, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And that choice ripples through every corner of your life. You're not selfish for craving respect. You're not cold for needing reciprocity. You're not dramatic for walking away from what diminishes you. You're human, with a heart that deserves to be cherished, not merely tolerated. So, be radically honest with yourself, not with guilt or fear, but with the same compassion you'd give a dear friend. What would it feel like to stop begging for love that's gone silent? To stop putting your life on hold for those who won't press play for you? Imagine the peace of relationships free from tension. Picture conversations where your voice is heard, not interrupted. Envision walking into a room and feeling truly wanted, not just needed. Because there's a world of difference between the two. Being wanted means being celebrated for who you are, not just for what you do. You have a right to that kind of joy, to laughter that feels light, and to connections that wrap around you like a warm embrace. And here's the empowering truth. You get to choose who walks beside you in this next chapter. You're not chained to the past, nor obligated to keep playing a role that no longer fits. Whether that's the ever-giving parent, the always available friend, or the peacemaker who swallows their own needs to keep everyone else comfortable. You are free. And at this stage of life, freedom is one of the greatest gifts you can claim. If you feel a quiet ache, not just for what's missing in others, but for what's been lost in yourself, listen to it. That ache isn't failure. It's your soul whispering for something deeper, truer, and kinder. The first step toward that is often letting go of what no longer loves you well. There's a quiet power in realizing you don't need anyone's permission to live with dignity, to reclaim your time, your energy, and your heart. For so long, you may have put others first, your children, partner, parents, friends. You waited for them to notice your sacrifices, adjusted your dreams to fit their needs, and stayed silent, believing that if you just gave more, things would change. But slowly, you began to feel forgotten, not just by them, but by yourself. Transformation begins the moment you say, "No more." Not from anger or bitterness, not to punish, but because you're done trying to earn what should have been given freely. You're done bending until your spirit aches, done mistaking self-sacrifice for love. Because real love never asks you to disappear, nor demands you shrink to fit inside someone else's world. They may notice your absence and call you changed, distant, or even selfish. They may wonder why you no longer call every week, visit every holiday, or wait patiently for their attention. Let them wonder. Let them sit with your silence, because it's in that quiet, when your voice no longer fills the gap, that the truth speaks loudest. People often fail to realize the weight of what they had until it's gone. Your laughter, your listening ear, your unwavering support, these are not small things. But when you're always there, always giving, always available, it's easy for others to take you for granted, like a steady river they believe will never run dry. Only when you step back, when the flow of your presence slows, do they ask, "Where did they go?" Here's the truth. This absence isn't just for them. It's for you. It's your declaration that peace matters more than pleasing those who don't truly see you. It's your vow to put well-being above outdated expectations. And the more you honor that vow, the lighter you feel, as if shedding a weight you didn't know you were carrying. Picture waking up without checking your phone for a message that never comes. Moving through your day without wondering if someone will remember your birthday, return your call, or invite you to dinner. Releasing the burden of waiting, hoping, and wondering. Can you feel the freedom in that? Your worth isn't measured by how much you give. It's defined by how much of yourself you keep, how much joy, peace, and spirit you protect. If someone's affection fades the moment you stop doing for them, that wasn't love. It was convenience dressed as care, and you deserve more. There is strength in choosing solitude over disrespect. Silence becomes serenity when it means you've stopped begging to be heard. There is courage in saying, "I deserve better than this." Say no to a family gathering that leaves you drained, and yes to an afternoon of solitude, filled with the gentle hum of your favorite music, the rustle of leaves outside, or the quiet pleasure of your own thoughts. In these small, deliberate choices, you send a clear message to the world. My time is sacred. My heart is precious. I matter. We often fear that stepping back will mean being forgotten, erased from the lives of those we've poured ourselves into. But here's a truth that can set you free. If your absence changes nothing for them, your presence never truly mattered. That's not a loss, it's a revelation. It's permission to pour your energy into what makes you feel alive. Whether that's a passion you've kept on the shelf, a friendship that feels effortless, or simply reclaiming mornings for coffee and sunlight instead of worry and waiting. Choosing yourself is not selfish, it's sacred. It's how you keep your spirit vibrant, your heart open, and your life full. It's also a gift to those around you, your children, your partner, your friends, because it shows them how to live with boundaries, grace, and self-respect. People learn how to treat you by what you allow. If you accept silence, they'll give it. If you tolerate disrespect, they'll repeat it. But if you draw a calm, firm line and say, "This is where I stop giving without receiving," some will rise to meet you, recognizing your worth. Those who don't, they were never truly walking beside you. They were only standing in the shade of your light. You are not bound by old roles or the expectations others place on you. You are free to redefine what love looks like, to seek relationships that feel like home, and to release what no longer serves your heart. The path may feel daunting, but it's deeply empowering, because in choosing yourself, you're not just reclaiming your time or energy, you're reclaiming you. And there is nothing more beautiful than that. You don't need to leave with grand farewells or long explanations. What you truly need is far simpler, yet profoundly powerful, a quiet, resolute decision. A moment of clarity where you declare with absolute certainty that your peace is no longer negotiable. This choice doesn't require an audience or approval. It's a private vow to yourself, grounded in the truth that you deserve to live in alignment with your values, free from the weight of neglect or unrealistic expectations. If you find yourself in solitude, don't be quick to label it as loneliness or failure. See it instead as a sacred space, a chance to finally hear your own thoughts, to feel the steady rhythm of your heart, to reconnect with the person you've always been beneath layers of duty and sacrifice. That person is still there, wise, compassionate, resilient, waiting for you to listen. You've spent years nurturing others, pouring your energy into their dreams, their problems, their needs. Now, it's time to give that same devotion to yourself. Let the phone stay silent, the screen dark. Let the door remain closed, a gentle shield between you and the world's chaos. Let those who never truly valued your presence wonder where you've gone. Because where you are now, in this moment with yourself, is where your healing begins. This is where you start to rebuild, to reignite the spark of life that's been dimmed by years of giving without receiving. There's a quiet beauty in reaching a stage where you no longer feel the need to explain or defend your choices. Your peace speaks for itself, the lighter step, the calm heart, the small daily joys that bloom again. These are your proof, more powerful than any words. For decades, you've been the steady anchor, the one who answered calls in the night, who gave time, money, and care, who put aside your dreams so others could pursue theirs. And deep down, you always hoped they would. You may have hoped they would one day notice your sacrifices, that they'd pause, look at you, and say, "I see what you did for me. I understand now. Thank you." But sometimes, that moment never comes. The people you poured your heart into may move on, grow distant, or simply forget to look back. And you're left standing in the quiet, wondering if all your love and effort truly mattered. Let me assure you, it did. Every time you showed up, every act of kindness, every sacrifice left a mark. Your love shaped lives, even if no one ever said it aloud. Your patience, generosity, and unwavering commitment were never wasted. But now, it's time to turn that devotion inward. It's your turn to matter, not just to others, but to yourself. Build a life that doesn't revolve around who might call, visit, or finally acknowledge your worth. Create a life centered on what brings you joy, fills you with peace, and makes you proud to be you. You are not here to be an afterthought, remembered only when it's convenient. You are here to be honored, respected, and cherished. And that respect begins with you. It starts the moment you can look in the mirror and say, I am enough. I don't have to chase love, beg for attention, or prove my worth to anyone who refuses to see it. You may feel time has been lost, years spent giving, waiting, and hoping, but it's never too late to come home to yourself, not to a physical place, but to the essence of who you are, the self that still laughs freely, still finds wonder in sunlight spilling through a window. That part of you isn't gone. It's simply been buried under the weight of others' needs. And as you begin to reclaim that self, something remarkable happens. Your energy shifts, your spirit lifts, and the need to plead for love quietly fades away. The more you make room for yourself, the more the world around you shifts. The right people, those who show kindness, effort, and genuine care, begin to appear. They come not because you begged for their presence, but because they're drawn to the light you've rekindled within. They choose to be there, not out of guilt, but out of true desire to be part of your life. And if they don't come, that's fine too, because you've remembered the one constant who has always been there. You. You are the one who kept going through heartache, loneliness, and disappointment. The one still standing, still daring to hope. Not for others to change, but for yourself to rise. This isn't the end of your story. It's the moment you take the pen and write a new chapter. A chapter filled with purpose, not because of who appears, but because of how you show up for yourself. Maybe you'll return to old passions, tending a garden, picking up a paintbrush, or joining a class at the community center simply for the joy of learning. Maybe you'll take unhurried walks, leaving your phone behind, letting the world unfold without the weight of expectation. Day by day, you'll find solitude isn't a void, it's a gift. It's where you meet yourself again, rediscovering someone strong, compassionate, and full of life. There's a saying from Seneca, as is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is. And this chapter of your life can be good, not because of who remembers you, but because you remember your worth. If today feels heavy, if sadness or uncertainty lingers, let it pass through you like a gentle breeze. Then, take a deep breath, smile softly, and stand tall. You're no longer waiting, you're living. No more chasing invitations that never come. No more wondering why messages go unanswered. No more bending your life to fit into someone else's attention. You are not a guest in someone else's story. You are the architect of your own. And if some never understand why you've stepped back, let them wonder. Your peace is not up for debate. You don't need to justify your boundaries or defend your choices. You deserve to be honored, first by yourself, then by those you allow into your life. And if they can't offer that honor, you walk away, not with resentment, but with love. Love for the person you are becoming, for the life you're building, and for the peace you are protecting. It's time to stop pouring your energy into empty spaces, stop rehearsing conversations in your mind, and stop offering your heart to those who no longer reach for it. Your life is not a waiting room. It's a home, and you decide who crosses its threshold. Stand firm, feel the ground beneath your feet, and know this: you are still here, and you still matter. The years ahead can be your most liberated, peaceful, and meaningful, not because you seek approval, but because you walk your path with confidence and grace. If something inside you is whispering, "This is my truth," take a moment to affirm it. Write in the comments, "My time matters." Let it be your declaration and a beacon to others that your life, your presence, and your worth are not defined by anyone else. You are enough, and your story is far from over. It's just beginning to shine. What a journey we've shared in this message. I hope these words have stirred something deep within you and reminded you of your true value. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What lesson here speaks to your heart? Share it in the comments so others may find strength in your words. Here's to choosing yourself, living with peace and purpose, and writing the next chapter of your life with dignity. I wish you health, happiness, and peace. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Healthy Aging Blueprint.